Okay, so for this video, I'm going to create a new terrain with, because this one that I have here is kind of flat, and I want one that's more undulating, and I'm going to add some trees, and after I do that, I'm going to work on the rotation of the truck as it passes through the undulating landscape, and I'll also work on the aim rotation for the character. But first, before I do that, I'll show you how I make the texture. Um, Basically, um, I've got three images that I'm going to use, and I want to combine these to create the texture of the terrain, which is basically going to be like the forest ground. It's usually the forest has like a mixture of like dirt, grass, and like here's the dirt that I'm going to use, some grass, and like little chips of like I don't know like wood. So I've got a couple of these. I've got these, in case you don't know, I go to Google, type in royalty-free images. The three sites that I use are the top three ones: Unsplash, Pexels, and Pixabay. So just say I go to Unsplash, which is my first go-to site. I'll just type in whatever I want, press enter, and it gives you a huge list. So pick one that you want, you click on it, and then this window pops up, and then you right click and then save image as. That's how I got the images. Um, Now I'm going to, I just want to see the canvas size. Okay, so I want to make my sample pretty big. So I want to create a new file or a new image. And it's going to be 5000 by 5000, which is relatively big. So initially, let's start with this here. So I want to make this much smaller. And I'm going to right click on this. Actually, I'll move it somewhere down. Oops. Move it down here. Scale. Right click. As you can see, like this image size is defined by this yellow line. But if I have the image selected and press layer image to size, then the yellow goes around the entire image. So now I can go in here and I can use the stamp, like the clone tool. So I'll just, I want to copy it and put it everywhere. There's a bigger sample. So with that done, what I'm going to do is, because I have this whole space to fill, I'm going to try to make it more random. So I'll get a copy of this and make it nice and big. So I'll put a copy of this right here. One right here. that way it doesn't like seem like there's like any tiles within this image. So I'm just going to fill in all these empty spaces. And the last part, I guess, will be easier because I have this huge sample at the bottom to grab from. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to colors, hue saturation, and usually the ground is usually like a reddish brown, so I'll bump up the saturation for more of a reddish color. The saturation's not really helping it. It needs to be darker. That's good. That's good enough. The grass, I'm going to change the color right away. So hue saturation, and I'll go bring down the saturation, bring up the lightness. Actually, saturation, a little more saturation, and I think the color should be more yellowish. I think that's good. So I'm just going to copy that. And first I'm going to zoom in. I think the grass needs to be bigger, so I'll scale up the grass compared to the soil. That's a good size. So for this one, I'll just randomly add patches. But I gotta get rid of this sharp edge, so I'm gonna erase the edge first. Then I'll take away bigger chunks. I'll go back to the clone tool and I'll create maybe smaller patches just randomly. Okay, and then so I've put everything in a folder. To create a folder, you just press this little button right here. I'm gonna rename this to, let's name it ground. And let's do a little bit more work on the grass. Okay, I'll grab this one. Same deal. I'm gonna paste it. And I'm gonna zoom in to see, whoops. Obviously this is way too big, so the tool, I think that would be a much more appropriate size. That seems about right. And again, clone tool. soften this. Soften the edges. I'll copy this whole thing. Okay, so obviously this is too bright, so I need to go to saturation, desaturate it. Maybe I want a little bit more saturation. Maybe it's the lightness that I want to turn down. I'm going to brightness contrast. Turn down the contrast a lot. Okay, and the last one is this one here. Copy. Paste. Zoom in. Sweep way down. Oops. Right away I'm just going to soften these edges here. That way I can just like freely just paint them anywhere I want. Okay, that looks nice and random, so the same deal. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Colors, hue, saturation. Turn down the lightness. I'll turn down saturation as well. A little bit more. And I want to go into brightness and contrast. Turn down the contrast a little bit. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Well, actually, it doesn't look great, but actually, I have no idea how good it's gonna look. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate the ground. I'm gonna hide the original. I'm gonna right click on the new one and merge layer group into an image. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 copies, duplicate, duplicate. I'll hide this one here. This one I'm going to select half of it. I'm going to press delete. I want to make this one visible. I want to select it, select, invert, delete. Uh, Now what I'm going to do is I have these 2 images. One is this half, this one is this half. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift these to opposite sides like this. And make sure, oops, make sure that it's absolutely flush with the sides. Do the same with this one. So I'm going to make this one behind it visible. So this one's visible. So what that basically did is this edge here matches with this edge. So if I turn this into a tile, it's going to easily easily I guess like match everything. Like it's gonna the tiles are gonna be seamless. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna erase the middle portion of this. And I'll do the same with this one. So what I have now, if I hide the background image, I have these 2 sides that match up with one another. So now I have to throw everything into a folder, and I have to repeat the process for the vertical. Those 3 images that I created, I threw them into a folder. I'm going to select the folder and merge layer group. So it's one image. And what I'm going to do there is do the same thing. I'm going to create 2 duplicates. I'll hide the first one, and I'll go ahead, select half of it, and I'll press delete. And I'll select the other image, and I'm going to invert the selection and delete the bottom portion. So again, I'm going to hide this, and I'm going to move this down and try to make it as flush as possible. I don't know if you can see like the edges here, there's like pink. So I'm just gonna use the direction keys to move it pixel by pixel. It's good there. And this other one. Same deal, I'm gonna use the arrow keys. Okay, so I'm going to make the bottom image visible again. And I'm going to start erasing these. And do that for the other image. So now if I hide this bottom image, all I'm left is with our these two edges that match, and most of the middle is erased, so all that middle space is maintained by the underlying image. Okay, so I created another folder, put all that into a folder. I'm going to right click and press merge layer group, so it's just one image. And first I'm going to export as let's call it terrain color. It's probably taking a long time because it's a pretty big image, I guess. Okay, with that done, I'm going to duplicate it, this image. I'm going to go to hue and saturation, and I'm going to turn down the saturation to 0. And then I'm going to go to filters, and under generic, there's one for normal map. And it creates a normal map for me. Typically I like to bump up the scale just a little bit higher to 15. By default it's 10. And I press OK. And this could take a few seconds. Come on. Okay, and I'm gonna export it as terrain normal. save this out as a GIMP file. Okay, so I can close all these. I'm going to go into Unreal, and under the content folder, create a new folder called whoops. Environments. And there. One. Open that up. See new folder. Models. I'll put let's put models. I'll make one called materials. And I'll create one more called images. So I'm going to go to models, and I'm going to press import, and I want to go find my terrain and my trees. So I created an FBX for the terrain as well as 3 trees. So I'll press open, and it's going to prompt me to import any information, but I don't have any, so I just press import. So that's going to take a while. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3 trees imported, and as well as the terrain. So I'm going to go into, well, as soon as this is done, I'm going to save all. I'm going to go into images, and I'm going to import the terrain, color, and normal that I just created in GIMP. Okay. As soon as that's done, I'm going to press save all, and right away I want to go to models. I'm going to select this plane that I have, and I want to delete it. And I want to drag and drop my terrain into the level, and set it to 0, 0, and 0. So the truck needs to be moved down. As well as the player start. So what I want to do right away is I want to go to materials and I want to create a material called terrain MAT for matte. I'm going to double click to open it. And I dock it at the top. Why is it not? Okay, there we go. Okay. I'm going to right click, create texture sample, and I'm going to use the one that I just created, which is terrain color. I'm going to plug this in. I also need to create a texture coordinate, and right off the bat I'm going to put a high number in, like 100. The vector parameter by default it's black, so I'm going to plug it right into specular so it gets rid of this highlight in the corner here. Create another texture sample. This one's going to be terrain normal. And I'm going to plug it in to normal. I have no idea if this is going to work, but I'm going to try. And this texture coordinate is going to control both. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to zoom into my player start by pressing F. Let's go. Okay. So if it says bad size, that means it's intersecting with the thing, with the terrain. So I just need to move it up. Oh, it's usually it's because it's intersecting with the terrain, but the reason why it's still here is because the collider is like probably a huge box that covers the whole thing. So I'm going to fix that in a minute. But first, I'm going to select the terrain. I really want to see what this looks like with the material. So I'm going to have the terrain selected, go into the material section, press the drop down, and look for this terrain map that I just created. So terrain map. Okay, it's way too big still. So first, I'm going to have this texture with this texture coordinate selected. I'm going to bump this way up to 1,000 in the U and 1,000 in the V. I'm not sure if that's too high, but I'm going to find out. Okay, so if I go back, that's a lot more like it. The only problem is I need to go back. I need to go into models. I'm going to open up the terrain. And what does it say here for collision? Okay, so I'm going to go down here and under collision, under collision complexity, I'm going to press the drop down and use complex collision as simple, and I'm going to save. And then if I go back, it still says bad size. I wonder why. Oops. Oh, it's gone now. So I'm going to hit play to see what this looks like. Clint is fine, except for the fact that his foot goes into the ground, which is not a huge deal. As you can see, if I spin the camera around, you can clearly see the tiles. It's okay because there's going to be tons of trees and it shouldn't be as visible. It's still probably going to be visible to a certain extent, but it won't be as visible. The Clint foot, I don't know how to deal with because I haven't. There's ways to deal with it. With I think using IK, inverse kinematics, but I've never really played with it, so I'm not going to deal with it at all in this series. What I am going to do is I'm going to deal with that rotation of the truck because the truck is just looks weird. So the first thing that I got to do is I need to go to project settings. I'm going to type in trace. And where it says trace channels, I'm going to create a new trace channel. And I want to call it ground. And by default, the response is going to be block. So the truck is going to send a cast downwards and it's going to look for a ground. And in order for it to detect the ground, the terrain by default, I'm going to go in here, select custom. By default, I have to make sure. No, it's not here. What if I save all? I go back. Okay, it's not showing up there. If I go into the level with the terrain selected, I need to go to the collision section, and it should be there. Where are you? Okay, collision. It's under advanced. Collision presets. Set custom. Okay, so under custom, there we go. I need to make sure that the ground trace that I just created is checked. I have to make sure that block is checked, not ignore or overlap. That way it'll know that it's detecting the ground. Okay, in order to tackle this, I need to open up the... Actually, I'm going to close all this because I don't need it anymore. I'll go to truck, open up the truck blueprint. And first, within the basic inputs, I'm going to, I don't have to do this in basic inputs, but I'm going to put it here anyway. So I'm going to create a custom event. and I want to call it rotate to ground tick. I'm going to go into Minecraft. I'm going to pull out here. I want to call up a custom event that I just created, rotate to ground tick. So that way it's constantly firing over here. So from here I'm going to create a thing called align trace. So basically align trace is kind of like, has some properties that are very similar to collision, except it's more of like a laser than a collider that detects objects within the three-dimensional space. So first I need to tell it what trace channel I'm looking for, and I'm looking for ground. So under trace channel, make sure you select ground, and I need to tell the starting point and how far, in what direction from that starting point the trace is going. So I'm going to right click. Actually, I'm going to get if you look at the truck here, the capsule component is right here. It's the dead center of the truck, so I'm going to use that. So capsule component, I get from here I want to get world location, and that's going to, oops, get world location. And remember, for the capsule component, the pivot point, you can't really see it here, but if I go to right, go to wireframe, as you can see that arrow is like right in the middle. That means like the pivot point, like the X, Y, and Z, is that right in the middle. So that's the starting point. So I'm going to plug that into start. That's where it starts. From the capsule component, I'm going to get up vector. So that's the vector looking up from that starting point. I guess I can just plug this in. And whenever you get a vector, it's only 1 unit. So I need a certain length for this trace. So I want it to be relatively long, like long enough to make sure that I do detect the ground. So I'm going to use a multiplier, and I'm going to multiply it by a float of minus 200. But first, I need to change this. I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to change it to float integer, or sorry, float something. I forget what it said. You just need to change, right click it and change it to whatever option you have here. But I need a float, so even though this is an up vector, I need it to go down into the ground, so I'm going to use a negative 200. And I'm going to pull out of the world location, and I'm going to, whoops, pull out of the world and get an add function. Again, right click and use float double precision. Oh no, sorry. I'll just plug this in. No. I'm going to click here, float single precision. And then actually that was wrong. This is also a vector as well. So I'm going to plug this in. So from the center of the capsule component down 200 units, and that's going to go into the end. So far so good. So I need to right click on the out hit and split struct pin, and this is all the output information that you can use, like grab and manipulate and do whatever. Whether it's like the hit location to the hit normal, the normal rotation, like all kinds of stuff. So this is super handy. Okay, so this next part, you'll have to bear with me because I got it from another tutorial, and I haven't completely wrapped my head around the entire thing, but I do get the gist of it, so I'll try to explain it to best to my abilities. But what I have to do is I need to pull out and get a branch, and make sure that this first one is true, out hit, blocking hit, which means this trace that's coming out from the capsule component down is hitting an object that has a ground trace attached to it. Okay, so if this is true, then I'm going to set world rotation of the mesh. Now, this looks all simple and everything, but the tricky part is creating the thing that plugs into the new rotation. So first of all, I'm going to grab the mesh. I want to get three things. I want to get world location. Oops. Get world location. Get world. So get right in the vector and get forward vector of the mesh. So I've got these three things. What I'm going to do is, for the first one, I'm going to break wait a minute. Break rotator. I'm not sure if this is correct. Okay, I know what I did wrong. I need to get world rotation, not location. So from there, I'm going to grab break rotator, and from the break rotator, I'm going to from the Z, I'll make I'm going to do make rotator, but I'm only going to plug in the Z, because the rotation of the Z, which is as you can see, the Z is like the up and down. So Z rotation revolves around that axis. So when the truck is trying to adapt to a slope, it doesn't turn in that axis. It never ever turns like this. It only turns in the X and the Y. So that is why the Z is kept from the mesh's world rotation. It doesn't it's not affected at all. So from the right vector, I'm going to pull out and I'm going to make rotator from YZ. Y comes from the right vector, and the Z comes from out hit impact normal. So the normal, the Z from the out hit normal goes into here. And I want to make one down here for make rotator XZ, and out impact normal is from goes into the Z. And then from these two, I want to break rotator from this one. And the Y goes into the Y of the make rotator, and the X of this one goes in here. So it's this portion that I haven't completely wrapped my head around, but basically what it's doing is this first one, it's setting the Z from the Z rotation of the truck. It's just using the rotation of the truck. These bottom two, it's using the angle of the terrain to determine the X and Y. So X and Y is determined by the terrain, and the Z is determined by whatever the truck is. So from there, I need a rotation interpolator. It's called R-interp2. So the starting rotation, the current is this one. This whole thing culminates in this thing here. So this is the new rotation. So first, out of delta time, I need to get world delta seconds. The speed is, I don't remember, it's like 10. So the current speed, the current rotation moves to this rotation with this speed, and within this get world delta seconds or something. Then this plugs in to here. But I'm not sure if this is fast enough, so I'm going to compile and I'm going to find out. One mistake that I made was making sure all this is plugged in. I also made the mistake of instead of using out impact normal, I used out impact point, which is not incorrect. But now, as long as this is plugged in, out impact normal is plugged into the Z of these two make rotators. Now it works really well. So if I turn around and I look at the truck, it's on a nice angle with the truck, or with the train, sorry. Press E to enter. Now if I move around, so if I accelerate, and the camera movement works well still. So that looks good. One last thing that I want to do. I was going to do other stuff, but I think I'm going to just do one more thing. I was going to do like camera aim and like some other things, but I'm going to just add some trees. That's all I'm going to do. Okay, so for the time being, originally I was going to oops. I was going to paint foliage, but the system just crashed on me, so I'm not going to paint it. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to, just for test purposes, I'm going to manually add some trees just to see what it looks like. And already I can see that there's problems with the normals. I am going to crack open Blender. That tree looks okay. I'll go to materials and I'm going to create tree one matte. Tree two matte. And tree three matte. First I need to go to open up tree three. It looks like the whole thing needs to be flipped. Oops. We export that. back here, models, re-import tree 3, and please don't crash on me. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, I need to create textures so that set these materials have an alpha on them. So I'm going to go back to materials. I'm going to open up these three. One, okay, so I went and set up all these materials. Originally I created 3 materials, but actually I needed 5. So for tree 1, the bark is the bark color plus a vector parameter to set the specular to 0. So I'm basically plugging in the black color into specular for 0 specularity. For the branches, plugged in the color, but I also, with this selected, I put the blend mode to translucent. By default it's opaque, but if you select translucent, it makes this opacity available, so you can plug in the alpha, and that's why you see the alpha now. And I did the same for the other 2 trees. So now I can go ahead and I can close all these. And what I like to do is I guess I need to save this. Okay. Instead of applying the new materials directly onto these trees, it's always better to open up the static mesh from the folders. So tree 1, lock that. Open up tree 2, and tree 3. Okay, so I'll start with tree 1. If I zoom out a bit, as you can see, it's got 2 slots, for one for the foliage, one for the bark. So for the bark, I'm going to type in tree 1 bark, and the second one I'm going to do tree 1 branch. And there we go. That makes all of it transparent. There's something weird about it, but I'm not sure what it is. Oh, I know what it is actually. I need to what I did wrong. I need to export both geometries because I forgot that in Unreal it only shows one side of the geometry, so I'm seeing the the foliage in front of me, but I'm not seeing the foliage on the other side. That's why it looks weird. So let me go ahead and change these textures first while it's loading up. This one's tree 2. This is the same problem. And tree 3 probably same problem. So I'm going to change this to tree 3 bark and tree 3 branch. Okay, same problem. So with this one, tree 1, the problem was I'm gonna call this flipped into edit mode, mesh normal flipped, select both, export FBX. Quickly save, and I'll repeat the process for tree 2. Okay, so I'm going to go back into Unreal. I'm going to select, first I'm going to save all, just in case it crashes on me. I'm going to select these 3 trees, right click, and re-import. They all look good now, but I actually made a mistake. Before you export these, you have to have there's 2 geometries, one on top of the other, both of them with their faces flipped in opposite directions. So what you have to do with both selected, you have to go to the object tab and press join, and join it into one object and then export it. But now that I've done that, if I go to any one of these, they all look better now. They look more full and like they look less weird. They're not perfect, but one thing that I also can do is under the collision presets, collision complexity, use complex collision as simple. Same thing with the other 2 trees. So I'll quickly do that. Save. So basically what that does, it makes the entire mesh the collider instead of just like one big like cube or something. So I'm going to go ahead and add more of these. These look really bright for some reason. I don't know if I like these trees at all. They're kind of, there's something wrong with them. But if I press play, so if I try and running into this tree, let's see if it blocks me. And I think it is blocking me. Yeah, these trees are really ugly. Anyways, I think you probably get the point. Yeah, I'm going to cut it off here. It's probably long enough. Hope you enjoyed that, and please stay tuned for more.